after I'm done leading for about 70 laps, Lightning McQueen will take the lead. He would only lead onto lap 200 before he'd lose the lead to Casey Corner, who would lead to lap 204, but unfortunately, Chick Hicks would be the next car to take the lead on lap 205, but on that lap, Dale Earnhardt Jr. is having a flashback, and in his flashback, his father, Dale Sr., is telling him about how bad Chick Hicks is in 1999. And then, Dale Jr. would go from 4th to 2nd on lap 205, and then he would shove Chick Hicks really hard. This would cause Chick Hicks to go down 10 laps, and then Dale Earnhardt Jr. would take the lead, and many Piston Cup fans would cheer this, but to make matters better for them, Murray Clutchburn would do the exact same thing 3 laps later, causing Chick to go down another 10 laps. But Ramezi Oaks would have an engine failure on lap 252, and then Aiken Axel would take the lead from Dale Jr. and lead to lap 274 before he'd lose the lead to Matt Carson, who would only lead for 1 lap before he'd lose the lead to Lucas 95, who would lead for 50 laps before he'd lose the lead to Dale Earnhardt Jr., who would lead for 1 lap before he'd lose the lead to Sage Vanderspin, the rookie. He would only lead 1 lap as well before he'd lose the lead to Murray Clutchburn, who would lead to lap 347, but Sage would take the lead back on that lap, and he would lead for about fairly 5 laps, but during that time, I would shove Chick Hicks, and I say this to him, and then he would go down another 5 laps, and the King would take the lead on lap 354, and lead to lap 367, before I would take the lead. I would lead to lap 369 before I'd lose the lead to Red Candyman, who would lead to lap 372 before he'd lose the lead to Lightning McQueen, who would lead to lap 375 before he'd lose the lead to Mark Carton. He would lead for about fairly 5 laps before Tony Gasworth would take the lead, and he would lead to lap 384 before he'd lose the lead to Sonic EXE, who would lead for roughly 1 lap before he'd lose the lead to the other Sonic, and he would lead to lap 391 before he'd lose the lead to Dale Jr., who would lead till the end of the race. But Chick Hicks, by lap 395, would get 23 of his laps back, and eventually does get back onto the lead lap with 1 to go. But it wouldn't be enough to stop Dale Jr. from going on to win the 2005 Nitroade 400, getting his first win this season, beating out Sonic OMT. And the King would finish 3rd this race, Lightning McQueen 4th, making this the first time where McQueen does not finish in the top 3, but he still did finish in the top 5, which will be rounded out by another rookie, Sage Vanderspin, who had a pretty good race this race, beating out Lucas 95 and Sonic EXE, who finishes 7th again, right ahead of myself, who would finish ahead of Murray Clutchburn, who also had a pretty good race, and his best finish this season. And Chick Hicks would somehow finish in the top 10, despite the fact he was down multiple laps, for a lot of the race. And Casey Corner would be the last car to finish on the lead lap, finishing 34th. Here are the rest of the race standings. All the cars in the top 5 have either red or blue in their paint scheme, and in the case of Sonic OMT and Sage Vanderspin, they have both. And here are the rest of the results, with Chick Hicks finishing in the top 10, beating out Jeff Gorvette and Tony Gasworth. Red Candyman would finish 13th, Aiken Axler finishing 14th in his first race this season, and Hall Ingus would round out the top 15, beating out Mark Carton and Kevin Shiftwright, finishing 3 positions behind his rival, Aiken Axler. Kevin Carvick, who's 1 number higher than Aiken Axler, would finish right behind him in 18th, ahead of Jamie McCarry, whose teammates couldn't finish the race, unfortunately. And Dale Cart would round up the top 20. And here's even more of the results. Rounding out the top 25 is Billy Oilchanger, and Ernie Gearson would round out the top 30, beating out Dave Laney. And here are the rest of the results, with the last car being in the top 35 being Ruby Easy Oaks, who finishes behind Casey Corner, who would be the last car, as mentioned, to finish on the lead lap, also being the last car to finish the race as a whole. And, yeah. In 39th is Brian Vickers, who was involved in a huge wreck alongside Brian Newcar and these other cars. Rounding out the top 45 is Elliot Draftler, and rounding out the top 40 is Kyle Buschtire, who finishes 10 positions ahead of his older brother Kurt, who finishes 50th, dead last. And Sterling Carlin also had a pretty bad race, finishing 49th. Now that the 5th race of the 2005 season has been done and dusted, the 6th race will be the Palm Mile 300. Stay tuned for that, and I will see you in the next video.